Hello, awesome artists. Today we are going to be making a fall work of art inspired by the artist George Seurat. George Seurat was classified as an impressionist painter, but he really focused in on pointillism. Now, pointillism is creating work by making tiny little points. All right, so you can probably see in my picture all the points. He's looking at you. Whoa, there we go. So we are going to make a pointillism scarecrow. Now you can make a scarecrow like this. You can make a girl scarecrow if you wanted to. You can make a silly scarecrow. It is up to you. But you want to draw large on your paper, okay? So draw it kind of big. And scarecrows have hay, usually for hair. Hay might be coming out of the neck. They would use like a burlap bag or like a potato sack or a feed bag to create the heads. My grandma, she didn't use bags, or she didn't use a head at all on her scarecrows. She would just make the body. She would stuff old shirts, stuff pants with hay, and then she'd just put a hat on top with no head. And then she would tie pie pans to the arms of the scarecrow so they would bang around and move in the wind, and that would keep animals away. But she never put heads on hers. I always thought that was kind of funny. All right, so I want to show you how to do the pointillism, okay? Now, usually scarecrows had old clothes, so they might have patches on them. The nose might be sewn on with fabric, the eyes might be buttons, but you decide how you want to do it, all right? So I'm gonna start with brown, and I'm gonna work on the neck area. Now, what I do is I don't usually encourage people to lay their hands down, but for pointillism, you're gonna want to. So you wanna start adding dots, and I rest my hand on the table so I can concentrate in one area and my hand does not get too tired. There is a artist, he's probably in his 30s, and when he was in college, he started doing pointillism, and he loved it, and he would do it for hours and hours and hours and hours over several years. And what happened was he damaged the muscles or the nerves in his hands and his arms from doing that tiny little motion so much. Now, this is not going to hurt us. Your hand might get tired, but it's not going to damage any nerves. He literally did this for hundreds of hours over the course of many years, and it caused that damage. But now he can't make even a straight line because his hand shakes. So he started doing bigger things. One of the really interesting things he created was a Mona Lisa painting the size of, well, not a painting, a Mona Lisa the size of a wall. He did it on paper, and he used hamburgers. He took the bun off and used the hamburger grease to make the picture of the Mona Lisa. Because he can do big things, he just can't do tiny things anymore. Strange, huh? There are all kinds of artists out there, guys. So I'm using a pink to make his tongue. Now, you don't want to set your hand in wet marker. So if you need to turn your paper to make your dots, that is fine. Now, don't pound your markers. If you pound your markers, it's going to ruin them. It'll kind of break the tip in, and you don't want to do that. That will not look good. Your marker will be hard to use. You'll get frustrated. You'll throw it away, waste money. So don't do it. Don't pound. No pounding. Plus, your parents will go crazy from all the noise. So I'm switching over to a brighter pink. Now, right now I'm using markers, and you don't have to use markers. You can use crayons too. I would not use colored pencils. And the reason I would not use colored pencils is because colored pencil makes a very small mark, and it's going to take you more dots to fill in your picture, okay? So colored pencils are probably not the best idea for this project. Now, if you notice, I'm taking this brighter pink And I'm going up and adding more dots into where the darker pink was to kind of blend those colors together. Okay. Let's see. It's like the tongue is a sunset. Now that's markers. And markers are great. If you want to use them, use them. That's absolutely okay. I wouldn't necessarily use those skinny markers though, because those skinny markers have a harder tip and they could break from pounding. So I would use the conical tip, which are the fatter markers. All right, so then we can switch over. I'm gonna switch over to crayons. And if you wanna use both, you can totally use both. That's not a problem at all. Now, with crayons, I would not use the point end, I would use the bottom end. All right, and then you just come in here and start making dots. Now, I'm using a brown kind of color on his face. And I might mix some like peach into it too to make kind of a tan. If you have tan, I would use tan. Usually, Scarecrow's heads are burlap. And burlap is kind of like this tannish, brownish material that's very rough. Like to the touch. When you touch it, it feels rough. You would not want to make a pillowcase of it for sure. So you just start adding the dots. Be careful that you don't like hold your crayon or marker down too long as you move, because you can make a check mark and that doesn't look good. We're really going for a dot as much as possible. And what you can do is go ahead and put it in, and then if you feel like, oh wait, there's really too much white, you can always go back over it later, okay? You can build on this picture over a couple days. This is not going to be turned in for assignment. You don't need to turn this in. This is just a fun fall picture for you to create at home, okay? It's, you know, it's fall, and fall lasts all the way till Thanksgiving time. So if you make this work of art now, you can have it up for a couple months and have your friends and family ooh and ah over your awesome fall art. And you know what they'll do? They'll look at it and be like, oh my goodness, are those little dots? And you'll be like, yeah, I made it because George Seurat worked that way. And they'll be so impressed. They're so smart. All right. So what I'm doing now is I didn't draw a background in. I'm thinking my Scarecrow would be like in a cornfield. So I'm just going to do yellows and light greens and some browns in my background to create kind of a texture that would look like corn would growing, because corn grows tall. So I'm doing like vertical lines, and then I would go in and, you know, I could use just a little bit of a light green, because usually by this time of year the corn starts getting brown because it's over. The season is over. They're about ready to get all the corn out of the field. So the stalk starts kind of dying and it gets kind of this goldy color, goldy brown color. But if you've noticed, if you've driven by any fields that have corn in it, it's been beautiful green this summer because we've gotten a good bit of rain. So the corn did really well this year. It's beautiful. So I'm just making these kind of dots of color to represent the corn in the background. But, you know, like I said, if you want to make a girl one, you can put it like a bonnet on her with some flowers. I put yellow, brown, and peach in the hair to make it kind of a goldy tan color. And then that's what the background looks like, all completed. Okay? So we are doing Scarecrows that are inspired by George Seurat. And you can remember Seurat because Seurat the dot, because you make dots for pointillism. So you did Seurat the dot Scarecrows this week. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.